Imagine the thing you desire the most at this point in your life. The thing that you want so very badly. That 10 minutes ago, you got that thing. You got a phone call and was told that the thing you wanted so badly was now yours. How would you feel?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Blurred Summits. On Wildcard Wednesday, today we're talking about how our experiences are just emotions and feelings. Using these feelings to help us in our victories, and using the art of visualization. So Abdul, what is something you deeply desire, and what are the feelings that you have along with that?
Yeah, I was actually imagining this. Something right now, in particular, at this stage of my life, that I really want is getting into graduate school, right? That next part in my education is something that I deeply, deeply desire. And I've been working at it for a lot of years, so I have a lot of emotional investment in it, right? And when I was doing this activity and I was imagining if 10 minutes ago I had just gotten a call or an email that I was accepted into my graduate study program, and I was thinking about these feelings, and one of the big feelings, I think I would feel overwhelmed, right? That all of this time leading up to this, I now got this thing that I wanted so badly. I would feel overwhelmed. I think I would, my heart rate would definitely be higher. I would be excited, but I wouldn't really know what to do. And all these feelings would just explode out of me at one time.
Couldn't you
But
also feel underwhelmed at the same time? Like it's like, oh,
I
that's
hope
all it
I
is.
hope
That's all it
not.
is. It's like you get it. It's like that's it. Okay, and then what?
Imagine.
Oh well,
That
you
would,
never know,
oh
right?
my goodness. It's very much possible. It's very much possible because I tell you what, when I sent in my application, that's
Yeah,
exactly how I felt.
it's like oh, that
You
was
know?
all. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When I sent
Yeah.
in my application, I was like, I thought it was going to be this big thing. I was going to press that send button and it was going to be this amazing moment and this huge relief off my back. But I sent it in and then I was like, huh, okay, well, guess that's it,
Yeah.
right? And I didn't feel very different. I didn't feel very different. So I'm hoping, I'm not too sure, it could be underwhelming, but when I imagine it in my mind, it is going to be something that is a very overwhelming moment. At least for a short
Yeah.
while,
It's
probably
like a
not
lot
for a
of these
long time,
things.
maybe
Yeah.
for like 10 minutes, but
A lot of the
for
things that
those
you like
first 10
visualize, right?
minutes.
A lot of things you visualize, you always over exaggerate them in your head, right? Like you said,
Right.
when you
Dude,
submit it, big, 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 big. Not
Yeah.
necessarily that, but I guess it doesn't always hurt to visualize that or imagine that when it's like something good. When it's something good, you want to think, okay, big, 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 right? Kind of push you towards it. But again, with the small thing, like bad things, like if I guess as we're talking desire, so positive. So positives always most of the time good reactions. Good reactions will be big. So always, I guess, I don't know where I'm going with this. We're running, running, running. So Imad, let me
but
hear
I,
yours.
yeah, but I feel like you can predict how you would feel if you think about like the things that
Mm.
have already happened. Like for example, we all wanted to get a driver's license, right? And that was like a huge moment. And like, oh my god, I can finally drive on my own. And like, you get the car and like you get to drive, and it's like, sure for like a week it's like amazing, but then
Yeah.
it's like, oh, now
But
I
you
gotta
do
wait
feel
it.
that big. You do feel the
Yeah,
big
you
on
do
that though,
feel the
right? You
big.
do
Like
feel it. So it is down.
I'm not gonna deny that big feeling, but I think we can predict what it's gonna feel like, and then we're gonna have to move on to the next thing.
We'll go on a tangent here. Funny thing with the car, with the driving your first time, that feeling of good was gone probably within 3 days, because the first time I ever went on myself driving, Abdul and I, we saw a movie. We went to a movie,
Oh
saw a
yeah,
movie.
that's funny.
So it was a rainstorm, right? So rainstorm, we're driving home from
Out
the
of
movie now.
nowhere, out of
Rainstorm,
nowhere.
rain turns to hail. It's like it's snowing hail down. We have to pull onto the side of the road, put the mats on top of the car so my dad's car doesn't get hail damage, and hide in the car while there's these flash floods going on around the community.
Yeah,
We were probably stuck for like an hour.
it was
An hour.
insane.
It
Dude,
was.
It
I
was
mean,
ridiculous
it was
because it came out
insane.
of nowhere. It was like a matter of, it was sunny day out, perfectly fine. We're driving home. 10 minutes later, it's this ridiculous storm. I still remember that moment. That's funny.
Didn't my dad call me too? He's like, "Yo, just pull over." I'm like, "I bet."
Yeah, yeah,
Did that
yeah.
stuff. It was mad, and then I'm pretty sure we lost some of the mats go down Shagan Nappy as well. So it was all a mess. But okay, bit of tangent. But it's like, yeah, with the goods come the bads. With all that stuff, the highs were the
Right.
highs, and then even things like that, you'll remember them forever, right? Like
but the
that, I could
highs,
probably like yesterday. That's yesterday, basically in my head.
Yeah, but the highs won't be what the highs without the lows, right? So
Oh,
you gotta have
100%.
the lows.
Yep. That is
100%.
very, very true.
Okay, back on track here.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
want to explain this idea a little bit. So, what's the point of the activity of imagining the moment where you get it, the thing that you want? And the reason is that what they found in studies is that a person who imagines them getting something and another person who actually gets that thing, that in their mind, they found the same pathways are being lit up, that they're experiencing the same feelings, the same emotions. One person has it in reality, one person is just imagining it, but both people are having the same quote unquote experience, right?
Because we're easy to be tricked. We're so easy to be tricked, right? So you can just train your mind to trick yourself to be like, okay, it's done. Bang, boom. Bada bing, bada
Right,
boom. Done. You win. You're winning,
right.
right?
And beyond that as well, it shows us that our experiences, these physical experiences and these physical outcomes that we want, boiled down, they're just feelings,
Mm-hmm.
right? That they're just feelings that can be accessed and tapped into whenever you want. So for the people who are waiting for the day that they're gonna get accepted, the day that they're going to get married, the day that these big things are going to happen for them, well, what if I told you right now, right in this very moment, you could tap into that and you could experience that and that you could have that, quote unquote, have that whenever you so desire? Isn't that an
Imad,
interesting thought?
what's your thought there, Imad?
Yeah, like I definitely
We've
think
we've
that's
left our mad speechless.
His mind is blown right now. He's like, where does this go from here? I can't believe I can do this.
but
Can you believe we can do this, Imad?
no, but I kind of agree with Abdul, bro. Like, cause like that's the reason why some of these like simulation games are so popular, right? Like these driving simulators where like you get this car and like sometimes like if you have like the whole setup like with the wheel and everything, like you feel like you're actually driving that car, but then like you step into reality and it's like, oh, like I think we definitely can trick ourselves into like some kid might dream his whole life of like walking into a Lamborghini dealership and buying it in cash and heading out, right? But
Right.
um I think you can experience it, but obviously it's not the same.
Mm.
I think just the feelings are going to be more intense when you experience it, and it'll just last less.
I
Yeah,
think it's pretty
bingo.
baller in
Yeah.
my head that I could right now thinking, damn, walk into a Lamborghini dealership. Here you go, money, bash. That's pretty baller. I
No, but
think that
I
could get me
might hit
pretty
it
hyped.
right on the dot too, because the same study said that even though both people can experience the same feelings, the intensity is different. And I might hit that right on the dot. The intensity between the people, they found that the pathways in the brain were more lit up for the person who got it in reality, slightly less lit up for the person who just imagined it, but nonetheless, the same pathways were lit up. And I think this is interesting because it's almost poetic. It's like a symbolic representation. This idea that you could imagine an outcome and have that same experience. And I think it's
Mhm.
poetic in the sense that it tells a person that within them right now exists everything that they've ever wanted or ever will want, right? And I think this is a very liberating idea that within you right now you have it all. And I think that's a very poetic thing. It's a very beautiful idea to think about. And when a person believes or knows that they have it all within them, then they can go out and get whatever it is that they desire. And we're not just talking about things like cars and grades and getting acceptance letters. We're talking beyond that. We're talking about the desire to be loved, the desire to have friends and friendships and be a good communicator. All of these desires that you want, they're simply boiled down to feelings, and these feelings, they already exist within you.
What about experiences that you can't imagine yet? Like for example, like 15 years ago, no one knew what an iPhone would be, right?
Yeah,
So what about
100%.
what about those experiences?
Well, I think that's like the feeling of getting a luxury item. That's what that comes down
Oh,
to,
okay,
right? Phone is
yeah.
a luxury, like a car. I guess similar
Maybe.
idea. Car, what a want is, whatever it is, right? It's a luxury. So it'd be kind of the thought of getting a luxury. Like you don't have too much feeling when you're on your phone per se. And almost with the phone
Well,
comes more negatives than positives when it comes down to it, right? We've talked about that before. That's almost lots more negatives come from having your phone than there are positives.
Well, does it matter? Like, if we really think about it, does it matter? Because if you can't even think of a desire, then that desire doesn't matter in your life. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's not
Like
a need. It's
15,
not a need.
it's beyond, it's not even a want. You can't even think of it,
Yeah.
right? Like, a poor person will imagine a Lamborghini. They can still imagine a Lamborghini. So that's still within their grasp. That's still within their desire. But if you're talking like 100 years ago, some people, they couldn't even imagine a smartphone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a desire for them. It didn't impact their life. They didn't really care for it, right? At the end of the day, it's just the thoughts that we have and those desires that we want. Beyond that, the things that we can't even think about, those are kind of just out there. You know, there's hundreds of million things that we can't think about, but they're really not our concern.
Yeah.
Yeah. But adding on to that, there's an old saying, and what the saying said was that if the mind can imagine something, then it can be achieved in the physical reality. So, what that means is that if you have the thought in your head, the thought enters in your head, then it is possible to achieve it in real life. Then
Yeah.
it is possible to achieve it in real life. And a person who, and the only time something is impossible to achieve in real life is when the thought isn't there to begin with.
Who
Right?
said that quote, Abdul?
Who said that? Was Earl Nightingale.
And who are they?
Earl Nightingale was a very old businessman. He died a long time ago. I think maybe in the 80s or something like that. But
Okay, nice,
Earl
nice.
Nightingale was one of the mentors for people like Jim Rohn and I don't know, a couple other people. Jim Rohn was like the really big one. The Iron, or sorry, not. Man, I forgot. I'm gonna mess this up, so I'm not gonna say anything. But he
Well,
was,
you
yeah, he
got who
was.
it was. I was kind of, I was like, okay, let's see. Kind of pulling these quotes left, right, center. Does he know who's saying them?
No, Earl,
He
Earl
knows how to
Nightingale
reference.
was the
You
one
know
who
how to
said that.
reference. You know how to reference.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, but he said that, and so I think that idea is very interesting. This idea that if you can imagine it, then it can be achieved. Why can it
Like,
be achieved? Because you could imagine it. Your mind doesn't allow you to think of things that you can't actually achieve
like
because it's
Elon Musk to
beyond your
Mars.
comprehension.
Elon to Mars, bro. He's thinking about that. He's doing it, right? It's
Exactly.
like that.
Right?
Tesla, all that things. I'm gonna make a flamethrower. I mean, flamethrower is not out of the blue, but going to Mars, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And look, he's just straight up doing it, right?
100%.
Anything you put your mind, you think about it, you just have to put your mind to it and do it. Like, sure, flying cars, maybe not now, but that means no one's put their mind to it yet, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what that
Well,
comes
and
down
the
to.
thing is, the point that you, Hudson, could imagine flying cars means that you, Hudson, can create them.
But do I want to create them? That's what that side
Well,
comes
yeah,
down
then
to.
you can
That's what it
decide,
comes down to. Yeah.
but the potential is there. You can definitely do it. You
Yeah.
know, like if we go back 1,000 years ago, people couldn't even imagine flying. Some people could, some people couldn't. But guess what? The person who made the airplane, he definitely could imagine it.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, everyone called Da Vinci crazy, right?
Oh, 100%.
And
It was
yeah.
the Wright brothers, wasn't it?
No, I'm
I don't
talking about
know.
like the concept of flying to begin
Oh, the
with.
concept, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was the Wright brothers who flew
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Da Vinci had a
History,
bunch of
baby.
different drawings and ideas, hey?
He
was
also had like this the
insane,
screw
bro.
thing. He had some like flying screw thing. That was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
weird.
yeah. Bro, he used to make a ton of designs. Like he would have thousands of inventions and designs that even he couldn't make them because he didn't have the resources at the time. That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
But
want
it
to know
shows, yeah.
what's really, really crazy? Is to add on to this idea that your thoughts can do it, is Albert Einstein, a lot of his experiments could not be validated till years after, right? Till to this day, just a couple years ago, they're realizing, yo, Albert Einstein was right. When he was thinking of these ideas and writing out all these different ideas, he was just doing them from the thoughts in his head.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It shows really how powerful the mind is, but that was just a bit of a side note.
Yeah, so we'll go back to like the role of visualization in accomplishing and like doing your tasks, right? So how could we do that? And like,
Yeah.
how can you use visualization to incorporate in things like meditating, sports, kind of that side of
Yeah.
things?
Yeah. Yeah, well, something that a lot of professional athletes do, or elite athletes, even university athletes, they train a lot of the high achieving university athletes to do this, is to visualize everything, right? And to imagine those things. Why? Because they found that people who visualize have a higher likelihood of succeeding. That's interesting. That kind of validates exactly what we were saying. And so with visualizing, they would visualize everything. The moment that they step into the arena, what what's the color of the wall? What do they feel? What are they holding in their hands? Every little bit. What movements are they going to be making
Mm-hmm.
on the hockey rink or the soccer field or the football field? What are they going to be doing in every single moment of their actions? Down to what feelings are you going to have? Right? When
Mm-hmm.
you're in this moment, it's a playoff game. What feelings do you have when you're sitting down for an exam and you're about to take that exam or the final exam at school? How do you feel? Where's the tension? How are you holding your
Mm-hmm.
pencil? And just through acknowledging all these different things, they began to realize that the likelihood of success was significantly higher.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've done that in a bunch of those sports, like with hockey, right? I've always sort of
Right.
done that. Like you're sitting dressing room before the game, you're thinking of the key moments in the game, what you're going to do, how you're going to react, this, what happens, how you're going to react, right?
Right.
And then, I mean, probably another one where it's not quite as physical is like in golf. In golf, every time you're walking up to your ball, you need to imagine, okay, this is the shot I'm going to make. This is how it's going to fly. And as you get kind of better and better, it's how am I going to shape the ball? How's it going to land? How's it going to roll towards the hole? There's so many different
Mm.
things that they can use to visualize and prepare yourself for the shot for it to then help yourself
Yeah.
improve and
Yeah.
go right. Because like I know probably you've played golf a couple of times, so you're not at that
Me?
point,
Yes, I
right?
have.
So like when you walk up to the shot,
just a
what
few.
like how is
Not
like
good.
at the beginning thing, right? When you walk up, your thought process is I'm just going to swing at the ball, right?
Bro, I
Just
am
happy
not
if I hit
looking
it. You're happy if
anywhere
you hit it.
except for the end of this club is going to smack that golf ball and it's going to go flying.
And that's
I
how
don't even
yeah,
care where it goes flying.
obviously. And therefore, and like if you thought about it in that other way, you'd probably do better. But it's a little
Probably, yeah.
overwhelming, right? Like you think, okay, I'm gonna walk up, the ball's gonna fade off to the right, it's gonna land, it's gonna bounce, and stop. Again, and then with reading putts, it's like, okay, this is the arc to the ball. It's gonna set probably 10 feet out to the right, it's gonna roll in, right? All this
Mm-hmm.
visualization. If you didn't have that visualization or you're not using it, it's impossible to do good.
Right. Why? Why do you think that visualization helps people do better?
It prepares you for what's gonna happen.
Okay.
It gets your
But
mind
there's a
ready
bunch of
for what's
different ways
going
I
to
can
occur.
prepare, right? I can prepare by going to practice, by going to the shooting range
It
for
also
the
forces you
driving
to
range for
it forces
golf,
you to
right?
focus and keep your
Aren't
mind in the now, keep your mind ready for it.
aren't
Because
all
sure,
those things? Wait, sorry though, but aren't all those things visualization anyways, Abdul? Like if like
Mm.
going to
well, no, your
practice, going to
visualizing like on the driving range, that moment on the range, you're just hitting shots, you're aiming at this. It's sort of it's you're training yourself to mentally visualize it. You're training your
100%.
visualization on the driving range. That's what that side of things is.
Right. Right. So why is that visualization where we're talking about imagining the actual event taking place?
Mm-hmm.
Why does that work across all different fields, right? It's not just
Yeah.
golf. We're talking
Well, it's
about
like all
every element of your
sports,
life.
any mind games, yeah, any school, everything. It works because it puts you in the moment before you're in the moment. For me, that's what I
Okay.
feel that does. It gets you into it.
Right.
It puts you there before. So you
Right.
get your mind in, your mind is zoned in, you're zoned in,
Yeah.
you're ready to do, you're ready for whatever happens, right? And you know the
Right.
outcome no matter what happens. I mean, golf's different from like a hockey or a school one, where you're
Right.
kind of studying, you're training your mind before for like a test, for an event,
Yeah.
because those things, because golf's one
And they
where
found
everything's
this.
different.
They found evidence for that. I remember learning in my class, in my neuroanatomy class, where they're talking about tracing patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So how does our mind actually do just a simple task from going from dot A to dot B, right? Just drawing a straight line across there. And what they found is that if they just had a person thinking about that and they had a person actually executing the task, then they're very similar, right? They're similar in all their facets because they're recreating this environment. And so
Yep.
they found that people who then imagine it and then go do the task perform better than people who just do the task, right? Because it's almost like they're getting a rerun, right?
Yeah.
They've got some chances where they were allowed to do it over again, basically.
Well, yeah, like, and I guess we'll go back to the golf example with that, right? So that's like on the driving range, you're like, okay, I'm going to hit a 190 yard 7-iron. That's going to maybe pull off to the left a bit. and land on the driving range, right? So then you go out onto the course. It's like, okay, you do your little scopy thing, 190 yards. Okay, I've done this shot before. I know what I need to do. Go here, little fade out to in, put it onto the green. You've done it before, right? That's what it all comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
That is what it comes
Right.
down to, is you've done it before with everything in this, with all these experiences, like success with school, all that stuff. You've done it before. Practice test, right?
Mm-hmm.
Visualize, practice, done it. Been there, done that. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, and with some of the more abstract elements of life, like for example, a test is easy because a test has grades. I can tell
Yeah.
if I'm doing better on a test because I get 80%, 90%, maybe I get 100% on the exam. I can tell what I got. But some of the more abstract concepts, such as friendships, some people they want to become better communicators, better leaders, right? How do you measure leadership, right? And I think a way to utilize visualization in things like leadership and communication is to understand what it is that you are doing in those positions. So, for example, as a leader, imagine yourself in a leadership position, right? Now, I imagine myself in a leadership position. What does it feel like to be a leader, right? When
Mm-hmm.
I think of great leaders, what are characteristics about those leaders? Where does the tension lie in those leaders? When
Mm-hmm.
I am in a position where I need to be a leader, where am I stressed? And when they say visualization, it's like, are you stressed? Yeah, sure, that's a good answer. That's a good question to answer. But beyond that, where are you stressed? Is it in
Why
your
are you stressed?
eyebrows? Is it in your fingers, right? Sometimes we don't even realize it. We're crunching up our shoulders. There's tension in our shoulders. There's tension in our forearms.
Mm-hmm.
So they have people in visualization exercises, they have them figure out not only why are you stressed and are you stressed, but where are you stressed? Exactly. Where is the location? Is it in the front of your head? Is it in the back of your head? And just being aware of those in the visualization practice can allow people to then be conscious of them when they go into the real deal, and then they can relax those intentionally.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of like a practice in a sport, right? You're basically preparing yourself for the real thing. Like, why can't you
Exactly.
practice? Like, you have practice tests, you have practice for sports, you got the driving range for golf, you've got all these things. Why can't you have those for real life examples, right? That's what that comes
Exactly.
down to.
Yeah,
And
like we
inside of that,
isolate it. We isolate it. We say, yeah, I can practice for sports, I can practice for whatever. But then all of a sudden, when it comes to communication, well, no, that's just a natural thing, or leadership. That's just a natural thing. Yeah,
hmm
it's natural to a certain degree, just like sports, but it's definitely a trained skill
well,
nonetheless.
I think, yeah, the tricky part with that for people is they don't have a location, right? With like school,
Mm-hmm.
they imagine themselves being at the school doing the practice tests, like in the library or something. Hockey, they're on the rink. Golf, they're on the driving range. For all these ones, where is your location? Your mind. Your mind is where that shit's going on. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's where it's all happening. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do people wrap their mind around that, where they have to use their mind as their practice range, driving range, ice rink, library for their skills?
Yeah, well, it's not just the mind. Yeah, like the mind is the playground, but there's definitely times where I wanted to be a better communicator. I know
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to be going into a room or giving a presentation, and communication is going to be of the utmost value. Maybe I'm even
Mm-hmm.
going to a party, right? Let's say I'm going to a party and I want to meet new people. I can visualize myself going to this party, visualize how I'm going to conduct myself in front of all these different people. And so finding the environments where the skills and the things that you want to work on exist and finding those environments, then you can begin to build these realities in your own
Mm-hmm.
mind.
And yeah, the more and more you do it, obviously, the better you'll get at it. Sure, at first it might be
100%.
tough. You won't be able to visualize it. You might need some help. You might struggle, but
Yeah,
like everything, like any sport, like anything, practice makes perfect, right? More practice, more
100%.
practice, more practice. You'll get better, better, better at it.
100%. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, really great discussion today, guys, about visualization and understanding our feelings associated with experiences and understanding that our experiences are really just feelings in our minds and how we can capitalize on those. Do you guys have anything else that you guys want to add in today's discussion before we wrap up this podcast?
That sounds good to me. I think we sort of hit topics. We kind of ran on in some areas, but I think we
Yeah.
got most of the stuff we wanted to.
Yeah, uh,
Absolutely.
that's good enough for me, bro.
Awesome.
Big
Well,
ups to the mandem in Belgium. Appreciate you watching the podcast, man, or
yeah,
woman,
yeah.
whoever it is. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we have one viewer in Belgium who has been consistently listening to our podcast. So if you are still listening, we give big props to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. For
It's
the rest of
unreal.
you guys, if you guys want to hear us more, you can catch us on audio format on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, as well as Pandora. And you can catch us as a video format across YouTube. We're going to be uploading the full lengths on there. You can also find daily content and updates from us on our social medias at Instagram and TikTok. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great day.